So we are going to solve the exercise in page 188, exercise B, graph each function, and we have to graph this. We are going to graph y equal x to the square. Y equal x to the square. What do we have at the beginning of the problem? We need to choose several values of x, and you can see that you already have the values. They give you the values completed for the order pairs x and y. But we are going to try. I'm going to write the values for the x, for example. The values for x are the domain of the function. We have -3, -2, -2, -1, 0, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I think that is the value for the x. Y is equal to the x squared. This is the domain. I'm going to write it in here. I'm going to obtain the range. For each value of the x, I'm going to obtain one value for y. Remember, I need two values to graph one function. The value for the x and the value for the y. So I'm going to use this to obtain the value. When you have that x is to the square, you are going to replace the value. In the first one, you have that x is -3. So if you write -3 to the square, you are going to obtain 3 times 3 is 9, right? But I have positive because you are going to multiply the negative times negative. So it's 9. For the first, I have 9. Okay, what happens if I have now -2? 2 times 2 is going to be 4, positive. I'm going to write it in here. Now I have -1. Okay, -1, you know, one number multiplied by 1 is going to be the same. 1 times 1 is 1, and the negative is going to be eliminated, so I have +1. 0, when you replace 0 to the square, 0 times 0 is going to be 0. Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. Okay, what happened in the next part? When I write 1 to the square, 1 times 1 is 1. The only number that is going to change is 2. When you have 2 to the power of 2, you are going to have, in this way, 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So this is the function I was evaluating, right? Now I have my order pairs. I have the value for the x and for the y. I write it this like a domain, but you can write it on the chart. You can draw a table and you place all the values. Okay. You can write it like this. You write all the values for the x and all the values for the y, and you have -3, 9, -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1 in here, and 2, and the last one is 4. You can complete it like this, or you can work since you have the values already. You already have the values on the domain and the function. Okay, now we need to graph this function. I'm going to draw. You know that this is the axis of the x and this is the axis of the y. The vertical one is y and the horizontal one is x. So we need to place the points. When you have -3, you are going to count. Look that in y, the greater value we have is 9. So we need to count until the 9 positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. With the x, the greater number you have is 2. 1, 2. The other ones doesn't matter because it's finishing here. And you have -3 to the negatives. 1, 2, 3. Y doesn't have any negative value. They are all positive. Okay, when you start in -3 for x, you start in here -3. You have 9 for y. -3 for x, -3, and 9 for the y. Okay, the next one, when you have -2, you have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have -1 and you have +1 for y. So when you are in here, you place the point. When x is 0, y is 0. So you have 0 in here. When my x is 1, y is 1. When this is 2, +2, I have +2 for the x. If I add another value, where do you think that is going to be placed? When it's +3, for example, it's going to be located on 9 on y, right? Because you write this to the square, and -3 to the square is going to be +9. So I can write this in here if I have the 3. Only to do the graphic symmetrically, in a symmetric way, I write it. In this case, this equation, y equal x to the power of 2, has this shape. This is the shape of this function. In this case, this kind of graphic is continuous. You only place these points to find, some values of this graph. But this is a continuous graph. Now, do you have any question until this part, for example, about how are you going to evaluate some number?
Mr. So the letter D is like the number G or no?
The number, I don't
D.
understand you.
O sea, los números que tiene así arriba, en paréntesis, es como la letra Y o X.
Oh,
¿O no?
this is the domain. You associate the domain with the X. And for the range, you associate the range with the Y. The range is the vertical part, in like the letter Y. And the X is the horizontal part. It's not like the same variable. It's when is starting your variable, in what part is starting your variable. In this case, my variable starts in negative here for the X and finishes in +3. So it's not only the variable, it's the part where is located the function, okay? It's where it starts and where finish the function for the X and for the Y.
So basically, the green is the X and the blue is the Y one.
The
Also,
domain,
in the example of the book.
the domain with the X and the range with the Y. You can use the values. If they give you the values of the domain and the range, you can use it. You only place it in the chart on the table. You draw the table and you can graph using that variables, that numbers. It's the same. Remember that to graph, you need the values of the domain and the values of the range. In this case, for X and for Y, that are my two values. You need a ordered pair. Ordered pair is like this one. You have one number in the X and the other one is for the Y. This is a pair of my variables, X and Y. So I graph.
Sorry.
Tell me, Cassandra.
I have a question, and it's we don't have to do the equation like y equal to x to the to. We don't have to substitute.
You replace in each part, so I only that I don't write it. You have y equal x to the power of 2. So any number you take, you find the power of 2. For example, if I take -2, you are going to find -2 to the power of 2, that is -2 times -2. That's why I obtained the +4, 2 times 2 and the signs. I solve it, only that I don't write everything, okay?
Okay.
But you need to solve it on the function. You replace the value and you solve it. If you don't want to write all the values and you are sure that you are not going to get confused, so you can do it.
Thank you.
I don't think that you have problems with the example 3 or 4. Okay, maybe the example 3 we can graph, but it's not as difficult as you think, because we need to use a graph for this function 1/3 of x plus 2 to find the value of f of x when x equals 6. They give you the graph. They are only asking you for the value when x is equal 6. So you locate the x on the 6 on the x-axis. You have the graph and you identify the part that is located on the 6 for the x. And you only replace the value. You have the function, the original function is 1/3 of x. Instead of writing x, you write the value they give you. They are asking you for the value when the variable is 6. So you only replace 1/3 times 6 plus 2. You divide 6 by 3 is 2 and add the 2 again. And you have the 4 is to the other part. So you obtain in this case the value for the other variable. When x is 6, 4 is the other, okay? The other value. Remember that you need the two values. You need the value of the x and the value for the y. They give you the graph and they are only asking you to replace the value when when the x is going to be equal 6. In the example 4 problem solving application, you already have the graph. This function describes how many millimeters there. This is only that they are talking about the story using the graph, using the problem, but you are going to do the same. You replace the values and you find the value for the x and for the y, and later you graph. You graph how? Placing the points, right? Like in here. You place for the x and locate for the y. Again, you locate the values of the x and the y, and you complete the graph. I think that you can solve the example. So in the part of the homework, I assign you the example 1. They give you the values of the domain and the range in this one. So you obtain the values for the other variable. And later you graph. Remember that you need to graph in each one. In the example 2, the same. You need to graph each function. But in this case, for example, guys, if they give you like this, if they give you the function f of x equals
Mr. Sorry, but we have another class and it's 11 now.
Yes,
So
yes. I'm only
please.
going to explain you what to do in this example and we finish. Sorry, but I need to finish because you are not going to understand. You have the function f of x equals 6x plus 4. You don't have any value for the x or for the y. You can write values. For example, in x, you start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use the values you want starting with 0, or you can use negative numbers, for example, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and you give 4 or 5 values. It depends on you, okay? Only to give values of the x, and you find the values for the y.
Mr.
Tell me, Gabriel.
So in X, we can put random numbers.
You can use random numbers, but remember that it has to be with a sequence, right? For example, you're starting -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, or you're starting 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, to be more with more order, okay? So have a nice day, guys, and if you have any question, you can write me, or you can see the examples to compare with the homework. And I'm sorry for taking the other 2 minutes.